Welcome everyone. It is May. I had to look at my calendar to figure out what month it
14th.
is. I think it's May. This is your Cloudy County community call, our land grant slash extension themed community where we do techie nerdy things and hopefully teach you how to do cool stuff. Have some things lined up for you today that hopefully you'll find kind of exciting and kind of a play along opportunity. Um, but Joe, my partner in crime here, where are you at? Because that's not your normal backdrop.
No, if I lifted this up a little bit further, you would see a very nice beach here in Daytona. So I'm at an annual conference where all of our associations across our extension programs get together, have a week of training and learning. I'm down here to present at 3:30 Eastern on some AI topics, our favorite Copilot. So I'll be doing that in a little bit after this, but I get a chance to shoot down here from Gainesville for the day. Probably not going to make it to the beach, but
Oh,
happy to be here and support our extension programs.
Daytona's pretty wild. So if you go down to the beach, you might get pulled into some sort of like party or something. So, and it may explain if we have a low number of attendees from UF IFAS extension, because they're all where you are.
Yes, they are.
So that is okay. Joe, since you're remote and you're all over the place, I'm not sure how things are going to go for you if you're going to lead us through the what's new
Yeah,
content. So,
yeah, I think I'm gonna go for it here. The Wi-Fi
okay.
seems to be decent here in this Hilton, not in a Hyatt, unfortunately, but
Oh, my people.
uh, let's see here. Let's get this going. Hopefully, you got a screen share going there. We're going to continue some conversation here around how Microsoft is updating the URLs, the domains that their services are falling under, and one that's flipped recently is forms. So we've been talking about this as these services slowly switch over to a new URL. And this one you'll see forms.cloud.microsoft. So a lot of the services, I think Outlook has switched, Word, Excel, you can hit these URLs now under a more safe and secure URL system. This helps prevent phishing and scams that happen with domain squatting, where a bad actor picks up a domain that looks similar to one that you're using related to these kind of services. And some of these bigger internet providers, service providers have been able to secure their own top level domains, so the .Microsoft. So be looking for that to continue. This means it's okay, and you're probably going to be a little more protected going forward. Next thing we're going to talk about is something that has come to, here we go, see this. So, do you have a lot of people you want to talk to? Do you have a lot of people that you want to stream information to? You can hit 100,000 people coming up now with a Teams premium license. It previously was 50,000, which sounded massive. Um, Through the ability of working with Microsoft's Leap program. So they have a service that will help you do this. You might need to engage them actually, I think, to make this happen. They've got an assistance program for these kind of large live events, but you can get up to 100,000 people now streaming with a premium license. If you don't have Microsoft Teams Premium, we've talked about this before. I think we can probably find a previous recording where we kind of show that off. Not only with the Teams Premium license do you get Intelligent Recap, which gives us a nice AI overview of your team's meetings. That takes the transcript, pulls out action items, mentions, things like that. It also has a number of other features, not AI related, but basically the experience you get in Microsoft Teams around events is one of the other key features that you get with this. So that if you got a great YouTube, a great podcast of some sort, you really want to push it out there, you can hit 100,000 now coming up. And Teams Premium is, as far as I've seen, very inexpensive at the EDU. We're down to somewhere around $2 a month for that. Great service for that. What did you get for that? Next thing we can look at is, if I can get into that URL. Another feature that is coming is the ability to better control when we're having events like that, what the user sees on the screen. This will give us a little better understanding. Maybe here's a little screen we can see. In a town hall webinars where you have turned on the setting, manage what attendees see, that has been a great feature that enables us to put exactly who we want on camera sent out to your attendees. So you have full control over, like if 5 people have their videos on, but you only want one person, you can control that when you use this setting. Great for panel discussions. You can put 2 or 3 people up, just their videos up, and you can bring people on and off. There's a little toggle you can run and see that allows you to kind of bring these things from kind of the backstage onto stage, onto camera. But one of the things that was could be troublesome was the screen sharing. Somebody could accidentally screen share over somebody else. Or as soon as somebody screen shared, maybe they started too early. You didn't have any control over it. That's a nice feature now that they're bringing, is the ability to decide when the screen share content goes on screen. One of the last little settings that really gives you full control around a real professional presentation, especially if you're going to be streaming out to a lot of people. You've got such better control this way. Let's see. Next thing I want to talk about, let's look at Teams. Microsoft is always looking at accessibility features in their tools. One that has been out for a little while. It is available through, looks like it's going to just be available through Teams right now. There it is the ability to have your name pronunciation on your profile card. There's a setting at the tenant level. You might need to have this switched on. But if you hover over your own profile card right now, maybe you'll see it. It might look a little differently because I have set mine in this case. But hopefully if you've got, being able to pronounce names is really helpful if you have one that's difficult. But you can set that. You get a little interface. You get 10 seconds to record that.
Joe Gasper.
Very simple to set up and helps with accessibility and being able to, a lot of times we're meeting people for the first time over Teams, that kind of thing. Being able to see their face with a great profile picture and now hear how their name's pronounced, I think is really helpful.
I'm going to chime in there real quick and interrupt you because I want to remind folks, you can hover over someone's people card. Like that's what we call it, a people card. Like when you see somebody's face, it could be in a chat. It could be live in a meeting because they have their hand raised and they have a question and you don't know how to pronounce their first name. So you could hover over their people card to expose what Joe's showing you here and listen to their name before you actually call on them in the audience. This only works for people internally to your organization. You can't click on people, like you can click on me, for instance, and hear how to say Dwayne. I don't even know if I say it right, honestly. But I just wanted to remind folks, like that little hover over thingy that you can do on someone's face is very, very useful. Like Joe, can you hover on mine real quick? Because you see I'm pinned in Joe's chats, because we hang out a lot. So when he hovers over me, there's actions that you can do there. Lots of actions, like send a quick message. Like you don't even have to open up chat. You can just type in a little blurb and hit go, and it fires off a chat message to that person.
Sometimes that's the best way that I use to, like, if you've got a long list of chats, how to find that person. Sometimes I'm already somewhere like in Outlook or something like that, where I see their name, hover over that, and click that quick chat, and that brings up that chat with them, just gets it started somewhere. Because sometimes it gets lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Start a meeting, start a call.
Yeah, all kinds of things. And that audio blurb, that pronunciation will be there. I don't have one set up. I guess I should do that.
Yeah. Great. Next thing, let's try to show this to this is another accessibility feature here. I'm going to bring the meeting over. We have the ability now. I'm going to go up under our More menu. I'm going to go to Language and Speech. I'm going to show live captions. And this is going to get started here. It's going to automatically be down at the bottom of our screen. But something that we can do now is pop this out into a new window. So now that's over on another window. I'm going to switch these around, give you an idea what we can do with that. And I'll take you all back off over to the other screen. So now I've got live captions running separate. It's not taking up space, maybe because I've got a screen share going on, easier to see. Dwayne, you had a little comment about this. You told me kind of how this helps you in some situations, for good or bad. Maybe I'm
You're gonna call me out like that?
calling you out on this.
Okay. Yeah, I admitted this on another call, so I guess I can admit it publicly again and put it on YouTube. I said it in the chat just a second ago that I have captions on by default. I set that in my Teams preferences. So whenever I join a call, it automatically has live captions turning on. If you want to turn live captions on manually in a call, up at the very top next to like where your camera's at, there's the meatball more menu up there. If you click on those three little dots and go to language and speech, language and speech, you'll see a button that says show live captions. Joe says hide because he's already showing them, but if you didn't have captions on, that's how you would turn them on. So anybody can do this. This is a per attendee preference. So it's not something that you control as like the host or the organizer of the meeting. It's up to each individual to do it. And we talked about Teams Premium once, so we might as well talk about it twice. If the organizer of the meeting has Teams Premium, then all the people on the call can also translate those live captions into a different language that they select, that is their preference, which is pretty sweet. But my secret trick is I don't pay attention very well. And that's because I work in IT. I'm a nerd. I'm sidetracked all the time. I have 100 windows open and people messaging me and stuff's always happening. So I rely on live captions because I can scroll up and see what someone just said. You think might be a minute or maybe 2 minutes are kept in like the buffer, we'll call it, of the live captions. So if I get sidetracked or someone calls my name and I'm not totally sure what they were asking me to do or the context of it, I'll just scroll my mouse wheel up and read real quick what they said and then carry terrible. But I do it, and it seems to work for me. So sorry, everybody.
Cool. Well, that is a nice little trick. You never know when you get pulled away sometimes too, and be able to come back that easily. The next thing we're going to look at is some different technology that has come into Copilot. So Copilot Chat. I'm in Teams on the web. I am looking at Copilot Chat. We've talked about this in the past a little bit. I know I'm in Copilot Chat. I'm logged in with my corporate account. I've got my enterprise data protection enabled, the green checkbox. I'm just starting off very simple here. Explain life cycle of water with respect to ecosystems. It's given me an understanding of the life cycle, the pieces to that system, what's happening. But what I want to show you is something that's new that's, I think, really fun to work with. It's got a funny name, but something called Mermaid, Mermaid diagram language. It is a text-based ability to create diagrams. And Copilot understands it, and you can request images based in this code. So I've asked for that life cycle in a visual way. It's a life cycle. It probably makes more sense to look at this as a diagram. Diagram a life cycle of Mermaid. Life cycle in Mermaid diagram language, show the chart. So here is what that ends up looking like. That's a little bit easier to understand, to take visually what a life cycle is and see what that looks like. So this is designed. Let's see if I can see the display and the code. So this is what Mermaid language looks like. It's like, how do I decode this? I want to know that my letter A is evaporation and transpiration. Let's think of it as an alias. So that part of the image is an alias to the letter A. Letter A connects to condensation, letter B. And as you, B connects to C, and C happens to be called precipitation, we just keep going through. That's how this is working. C connects to D. The first time we encounter D, we give it its alias, its visual name. And we go through this process of, you could type this out. Copilot helps us understand and create that for us. What can we do with this then? So what we can do with this code is there are other, one I like to use is an open source tool, Draw.io, and you can use this and import it, and then it becomes objects into that tool, and you can move around these boxes and arrows, color code them, things like that. So it's a quick way to make that image. In this case, I could grab it I could download this as a PNG and put it somewhere right away if I wanted to, or I could put it into another tool and actually manipulate it. So very, very slick. And the other great thing,
Oh, he thought his Wi-Fi was good. Give him a second, see if he comes back. Well, now I enter stalling mode while Joe's Wi-Fi comes back on. Yeah, Mermaid is pretty interesting because you can visualize something, and it's like an on-the-fly flow chart, basically, that you can create. It is code, but luckily Copilot will write the code for you. You don't have to, know how to code in Mermaid. You just have to know how to ask the question and tell Copilot what you want it to do. Hey, you're back.
hey, is my screen share there still? Everything?
Yeah, you're
What's
good.
going on? What
Yeah.
do you see? Okay. Where did you lose me? I was going to head towards loop.
Yeah, go ahead. Hit loop.
Loop pages, sorry. All right, so I'm just going to say, what we can do here is, if I want to maintain this information someplace, is I can open this, edit in pages. This is going to push this into a nice loop page for me, loop components, where, again, loop now is supporting this also. I think that's really slick. I really like working in Mermaid to get the concept down quickly, pull it into another tool, make it look great, maybe pull it into PowerPoint. So, and let's see, we've got, I think we've got, at this point, to cover something that is going to be coming up soon for EDU. This is going to be an interesting change to hit us. It's probably been at least, what, 6 months, Dwayne, maybe a little longer that non-EDU could take advantage of this change. But there's a new experience in Teams for the way that we interact with channels and chats. The ability to bring and sort of merge a channel and a chat together, group them together, put them in a different type of order and work in them is coming. And if we see here, we've got a standard list view. We have the ability now to customize this and view your channels in a single list. See if they got another picture here. I think that's going to be it. So we've got the option again to be able to see our channels in a single list now. So if you've got, and maybe Dwayne, you could do a share here of your demo environment.
Yeah.
The ability to have, if I'm in a lot of, a lot of teams, and not every channel, those teams typically are important. So having the ability to bring those more important channels into a list that shows side by side, I can more quickly see. I'm not scrolling as much. At first, it's like, how are we going to, help EDU through this process? I think, though, it's really going to be a great experience.
Yeah, this is what it will look like. It's supposed to hit education in like a month or two, I think. So you've got some time. But if you really want to have more control over how you group things together, like if you're very, very like highly organized, or if you're just annoyed that things are separate, you might like this capability. So I hit the meatball menu and I went into my team settings to chats and channels. You'll see an option here called either combined or separate. Right now I'm on separate. Because I'm on separate, I see chat and I see teams, right? As two separate things. If I hit combined, watch my left rail. Oh, teams went away. Now everything is under chat. What this lets me do is when you use Teams channels, you communicate in a channel. When you use Teams chats, you communicate in a chat. So they're both communication. Sometimes they're similar, like maybe it's for a committee. We've got a group chat going for a committee, but we also have a channel where we store stuff and you want to group those conversations together. You'll now be able to do that. So I've got some channels right here in pink, but I've also got individuals right here that are a part of that, and I can organize them and I can name the group whatever I want to call it. So it's not just favorites or pinned. It's here is me like making little groups and bundling all of my chats and channels that are similar in nature related to that group together. And I get to control what they look like. So you'll lose the Teams button, but if you scroll down, you'll see teams and channels down here at the bottom. So it's actually just two sections. See that? I've got chats, teams, and channels. I can expand those. Whoops. I can expand those. I can find a channel that matters to me for some reason. So maybe like marketing is really important to me right now. I can click the three little dots, the meatball menu, and I can say show in, and then I see my interface here of I can either select an existing group or I can make a new group. So I can move this one up to Starfleet, or I can make a whole new section just called marketing stuff. Great. So now I've got Starfleet, course, marketing stuff. I can organize this however I want. And yeah, Jackie, you're right. It will take a little getting used to because we've only had like the last, 5 or 6 years of Teams looking a certain way. So this is a pretty major user interface change. The good news is it's not on by default. Users will have to proactively go in here and opt into this experience. And it also rolled out to education slower because now that you've seen me show it, you can imagine this is a very impactful change to the user experience. And in education, there's the possibility of students leveraging Teams for learning. And we don't want to turn something like that on, and disrupt student experiences. And Jackie, I'm pretty sure y'all are in Tap. Do you see a Tap icon at the top of your, like above your profile picture? It did roll out to that group a little earlier, so that's why you're seeing it now. But yeah, I think it's a great change. Like it's a very, I as soon as it came out, I switched it on, and it took a little while. But now I would be very upset if I had to switch back, because I have everything organized the way I want and I like it. So growing pains, just like any change. But it worked out well for me. I'm happy.
I think some of the change there, it was to help try to get more work done in a channel. I think this will help versus scattered in chats where, if you've got a new onboarded team member or something like that, it helps expose those channels a little bit easier, maybe work in a channel more where, again, you onboard somebody to that team, they're going to be able to see all of that information. We're working in group chats and things like that. It's a little bit harder, not as good of features when you're working that collaboratively. So hopefully we'll see that pick up some. I've got one last thing to share, and this will lead us into our deeper dive, our conversations around some obviously Copilot, never-ending changes. So we've got you say there's a mouthful, right? Microsoft 365 Copilot Wave 2 Spring release. So, I think you're right.
Just call it Wave 3.
Because they've had a Wave 2, didn't they?
Yeah,
there was already a Wave 2.
Was in September of 2024.
Yes. It's like Windows OS, I guess.
Yeah.
So, there are some updates coming. Some of this is, I think will try to help with this, whether or not it's in chat, which when we say chat, we're talking, you're just a regular, well, you don't even need to be licensed for a chat, but a normal A3, A5, A1 experience versus a licensed Microsoft 365 Copilot. So when we say chat, we're usually talking the free one. So they're coming to both worlds, and updates coming to this. Just going to show a very short video on this, and I've got audio sharing, so hopefully you should hear this. We'll take you through a quick little tour of some of these features.
I'm going to give you a quick demo of the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Chat is at the heart of the new experience. It's the home of the app that brings together the content you've created, the conversation.
I think we'll just look through this a little bit as we're doing this to kind of pick up on these. Right here, we can see chat has been broken out on the side. We've got access to our pages. We've got a different location for agents, which we've talked about, are over here. And I'll let this continue to play.
You've had and the unique skills of your favorite agents. With chat, I can ask Copilot to generate a graph based on some of the work my team has been doing to craft Copilot. Within seconds, it creates an interactive graph based on my work data. I can work with my graph right in the chat, or turn it into a live shareable page, keeping everything interactive and ready to explore with others. Copilot notebooks organize all of my files on a particular project into one place and lets me have grounded conversations about that project with Copilot. Agents give you an AI team with specialized skills tailored to your work needs for things like deep research and analysis. You can pin your favorites for quick access, discover new ones through the agent store, or easily make your own to help with your specific job, all without ever leaving the app. With Copilot Search, we're bringing the power of search and AI together to give you more relevant, context-aware search results. It connects your work data and dozens of apps so you can quickly find what you need. And Copilot can summarize the files so you know what the content is without ever having to open the document. Copilot Create gives you a new way to make images, posters, and layouts, explore visual ideas, and easily work with the projects and files that are relevant to you. It unlocks your company's assets by combining the latest, most powerful image generation models with your company's brand kits. And of course, I can take all of this with me when I'm on the move using the mobile app.
I think that's good for that. The image generation looks interesting. Not sure whose chat that's going to come to chat or not. That is using the new 4.0 image generation. The follow-up to DALL-E 3 is pretty impressive what we're able to do with that capability. It works. The ability to put text into your images is pretty impressive with this new large language model for images, GPT 4.0. So I'm excited to see that coming. That's all to cover out of this, Dwayne. Notebooks. Notebooks seem to be getting closer to be released. That'll be a nice place to bundle up chats that you have. I think it'll be an easier way to find those chats that you've been working on and bring those back together. So I'm looking forward to that too.
There's a few like gems in here that I'll call out that I am very appreciative of. I didn't really show it in the video, but I can tell you because I know it's there. It will make it easier to find your chats. So like, just like if you think of Copilot as a person, just pretend for a little bit, I'm chatting with my friend. You could have lots of chats in Teams. And Joe talked about this earlier, like, hey, I need to find that chat with Dwayne. Sometimes I have to go back and I want to find a chat that I was having with Copilot because I was working on a project, and chats with Copilot have, like, you should have a fresh chat when you have a fresh topic or a fresh goal. So sometimes you end up with a lot of chats with Copilot. I've got a ton. So I have the ability to search for those chats. If I click on the root of the chats interface that he's got there, I can search and find chats. I can name my chats and find them by their name and those kinds of things. So the ability to search for chats has been on the roadmap for a while. And so I'm glad to see that. I have been having a lot of fun lately, just using Copilot to help me come up with ideas and make activities and, stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to group things together. The blog also had a little blurb on it about the Copilot key. So there's newer computers have a new key on the keyboard, a Copilot key. If you don't have a Copilot computer, that's fine. There's a keyboard combination you can hit on your keyboard, the Windows key plus the letter C. There's a change coming where you'll be able to connect that to Copilot Chat, and it will just pull up like a prompt box that you can just type your prompt in. Like, you don't even need to open an application. You don't need to open a website. You just hit Win C on your keyboard and type in your question and kick off the process of chatting. And I've personally lately have really enjoyed using the Copilot app on my computer. You can see I tell Joe this all the time in the nicest way possible. He's the worst example ever because he intentionally tries to push the limits of everything and typically break everything. But there's an icon on his taskbar next to Loop that says Copilot, but it says M365 on it. That's the one that you want. I use that now. That's my favorite way of using Copilot, because now it's not one of the 100 browser tabs that I have open, and it's not something that I have to use inside of Teams. It's its own dedicated standalone application that I can pull up and use and play with. And yeah, like this, like I can ask it questions all day. this is the interface that's going to change and look like the YouTube video that Joe just played. So you see his agents are up at the top right. That's all going to move over to the left. The create experience is going to be different. You're going to see notebooks and all kinds of stuff that you can use for organizing your chats and collecting information and putting it together. So that's the big announcement of Wave 2 Spring release or update, whatever they call it.
The the other agents that are coming. I dropped this link in for you all. This are going to be our chance to start getting into some reasoning models. These are around tools called Researcher and Analyst agents. And they're able to spend more time on your prompts, spend more time on your questions, able to think and go beyond a quick response. And we got some time. Want to walk through this one? I'll go ahead and play this one, and make sure give this one full screen here, and let's play.
Kind reasoning agents for work. Researcher helps you tackle complex, multi-step research, delivering deeper, more complete findings. Imagine your task with creating a marketing plan for a new product launch. You start by letting Researcher know what you're looking for, including the fact you want to consider what competitors are doing and your last product launch plan. Just like if you delegated this to someone on your team, it asks a few clarifying questions. You can give it a bit more direction, and off it goes. Built on an optimized OpenAI O3 reasoning model, Researcher shows its chain of thought reasoning as it pulls from both the web and all your work data, like internal documents and files. Researcher even knows when and how to tap other agents, so it can use their knowledge and logic to complete a task. And after a few minutes, you have your marketing plan, complete with citations so you can check its work. It's like having a highly paid, always available expert on hand. Let's say you're on point for selling a new product, and you need to zero in on your customer segments. Analysts can help. You've got a messy, highly complex data set scattered across a variety of files and file types, none of it cleaned up or contextualized. Analyst thinks like a skilled data scientist. You can ask it to come up with a way to easily understand and visualize your customer base. It takes your question, understands the task, comes up with a plan, and gets started on execution. Analyst is built on OpenAI's O3 mini reasoning model and optimized to do advanced data analysis at work, including knowing when and how to use Python. So even if you've never written a single line of code, you can still get the rich data insights only Python can provide. To validate its approach, you can always review its thought process, as well as the Python code it's running in real time. There you go. In just a few minutes, analysts reasoned across all your information, literally thousands of data points, and told you which customer segments to target and why, along with a data visualization to back it up. With our new agent store, you can easily find and use agents, ones that are pre-built by Microsoft, third parties, or your own custom agents, all of which give you on-demand help to complete tasks that previously would have required tapping a coworker.
I haven't had a chance to use those before. Those haven't been released. I haven't seen those yet, but I have had a chance to use reasoning models. And the first one I sent it off on, it took 10 minutes before it came back and was done with what I asked it. It was no idea what to expect, but it basically brought back, a small like research article you might find, in a formal publication. It was really amazing type of work that it can do. Like you get dropped, okay, Dwayne, gotcha. I see the chat.
Little side chat going on. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, great. So usually we don't like to show you things a little early, but some of these are going to be rolling out here in May to EDU. So we wanted to get out before they come. The Researcher and Analyst are going to be later, and I think, Dwayne, those are coming through in something that's called Frontier. Are you able to?
Yeah, Frontier is like
talk
an
about
early
that?
access program. And program is a bad word to call it, because program implies I have to sign up for it or I have to join it in some way, like a gym membership or something. That's not how it is. The Frontier offering is like a very early access preview. So like when you think like we're exploring a new frontier, or we're James T. Kirk and space is the final frontier, or Jean-Luc or whatever, that's what it means. It's frontier, like an exploration of uncharted territory. So when you're using these things in that state, your expectation should be like, this is literally bleeding edge technology that very few people have very much experience with, and we're all figuring it out. So that's what Frontier is. And Researcher and Analyst are two agents that are being created as a part of that Frontier system, and they are using the new reasoning models. So the reasoning models are, like you said, a lot more in depth. You said it took 10 minutes to do something. That's why, I mean, I think this makes sense, and we could all probably agree and see the idea here. I wouldn't want every single time I ask Copilot a question for it to go into deep thought and take 10 minutes to respond to me. That's why the reasoning agents are being tied to an agent, because an agent is a specific use case. It's I use that agent when I want to do that thing or something along that train of thought. So having a reasoning agent makes a lot of sense here. You would only invoke this kind of power when you really need it. But yeah, the Frontier program is the agents haven't rolled out yet fully. And I'm not sure exactly the timing on EDU, and these are certainly a part of the M365 Copilot license. So this would require that extra license to have access to these in their early phases.
My experience with them has been good. I've mostly used them in what's called agent mode inside of a product for programming, something called VS Code and GitHub Copilot, one of our first Copilots. It has the ability now where there's something called an agent mode, where you can, like we saw with Researcher and Analyst, give it a really big overview of something that you want to create, web application of some sort. And what helps with the thinking model, the reasoning model, is there's a lot of steps to build a web app. You've got some things on the back end, a database, on the front end, the user interface to think about, and how those all fit together. If you had someone who could only think prompt by prompt about the front end, you might not realize that whatever you're doing on the front end, the user interface, is not going to work for the back end and how you're connecting to your data in some way. What these agent and reasoning modes are able to do is break this whole thing up into tasks, accomplish a task, check if it's finished, did it work, keep going through its lists of tasks, and then actually go correct itself. So I've sent these agents off on their own, and you can watch it work. You can see its train of thought streaming past you and why it's making decisions. It'll say, oh, I forgot to add this process, this procedure in order to make this work. I'm going to go back now and fill that in. And it just keeps working and working and working. So like you said, Dwayne, yeah, this isn't something that you would toss all your questions at. Vast majority of what we need don't need that level of detail and that level of research. But when I've used it, it's been it's been great, very, very helpful. The other piece we saw in there was around the analyst and working more with Python. You can do that now with Copilot Chat. If you upload yourself an Excel file and ask it for a summary, ask it to analyze your data, ask it for charts and graphs behind the scenes, it's going to use Python, and you can go look at that Python code. And since Excel understands Python now, you can actually begin to start incorporating what you learn about Python from Copilot Chat and pull it into Excel itself, where you can then repeat that process. Right in your file, you could have that data always manipulated and showing a graph that's more advanced than maybe what you get out of Excel itself, especially around data analysis, which Python excels at. It even excels even better in Excel. So try that out. It's pretty slick to be able to do that. You're going to get a little prompt at the top of your prompt when you do that that allows you to like drop down and see the actual Python code when that happens.
Do you have an update? I don't know if it was in your thing about attached cloud file. Do you want me to show that?
Yeah, that's definitely that is a really helpful change. I think you can show how that what that fixes.
Yeah, let me throw a link in the chat for you all. If you could pull up, I like office.com/chat is my preferred way of getting there. But basically we're talking about office.com and then hitting the website for Copilot. Let me share my screen here. If you do have the app installed, you can also do that. And like I said, this is my preferred method now for using Copilot. I really enjoy it like this because now it's a dedicated app. And when I'm alt tabbing through, Windows and stuff, I can go back to it. And if I'm chatting with someone in Teams, I don't lose sight of the chat because I have to use Copilot in Teams. I just really like it, but that's Dwayne's personal preference. Everybody, does their own thing. An update here that's really new and really nice is the attached file interface has changed a little bit. And when you click add content, we now have the ability to browse OneDrive in Teams and SharePoint. This is a big deal. So if I said, I want information, I want you to help me analyze a file, I now have access to go through my OneDrive, or I see team sites over here. These are team sites on the bottom left. So I can open this little file picker thingy. You see that little arrow right there? And I can scroll down and I can see all these teams that I frequently access, or I can hit more and go to all of my teams and I can find a file. And I think in our testing, Joe, we saw I could do 3 at a time. You can't do more than that.
Correct.
But that would allow you to do some really interesting things like compare 2 files to one another and look for differences between them. But if I click on my files, I can scroll, go into like my documents. I've got, I think I have in here. I don't even know what I have in here. I want to go back here. I'm looking for the Titanic data. Where did I put it? There it is, Titanic data set. So Joe, help me with a prompt here, because this is where we get into prompt engineering or prompt crafting. So this is a passenger manifest of the Titanic. So I could say like, can you generate a chart representing the survival rate
by class.
By class. Ooh, okay.
By passenger class. Yeah.
Let's see. I haven't opened this spreadsheet in a while, so this demo could blow up in my face. We'll see what it does. But yeah, this is just a publicly available data set that's got all the people that were on the Titanic, and it has some basic information about them. All the first class people survived, we can see. No, that's not right.
Yeah, I think there's it doesn't actually call it class. So I think the problem is it's like it's an abbreviation. It might need
Yeah.
to give it that column there.
Oh, it is. Everybody's in first class, Joe.
Oh, you have
Interesting.
like a subset or a view.
Oh, do I? I don't know. I don't know what I got going on. There's no filter. But it's a good lesson.
You could do it.
And
Do it by,
you have to
do it by
understand your
gender.
data before you just start messing around with it. You have to understand what's there. Sorry, what'd you say? I could do what?
You could do it. Maybe do it by gender.
Yeah. Okay.
Survival rate by gender.
Let's try that again. Give me a chart of survival by gender. Bar chart.
Survival rate. Try survival rate,
Oops.
or we'll see. We might get numbers. Either one's going to be fine because we're going to be able to still look at the Python there.
And the point of the demo ultimately is that I was able to browse for a file on my OneDrive and ask questions about it. There we go. And I could use it without having to upload a copy or duplicate it in any way. And I can work with some of my work data now. And the experience that I'm using is Copilot Chat. So this is not the paid M365 Copilot. This is just Copilot Chat. And so that means all of you, if you can't do this now, this option is rolling out. I'm curious, let me know in the chat if you were able to try it and follow along and see it. But this is a big deal. This is a really big deal because this is a little bit of access to work information for analysis or wordsmithing or reviewing or transforming, all those kinds of things. So here's the survival rate difference. I think it proves that dudes are, we're risk
women and
takers.
children first. Women
Yeah,
and children first.
Women and children
sure,
first.
so.
Yeah.
Just a little bit above that chart, Dwayne, is where you can see the analysis. Those little drop downs will give you the Python there.
Yep.
Yep. So the other thing is we notice is the 1 megabyte limit is lifted too.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on some of the elements of that, but the actual upload from this device button used to have a 1 megabyte limit. It's now 512 megabytes. I think that 512 still applies to attaching an existing file as well. And if you remember, like we're working with a large language model, it does have limitations as far as to how much data can it take in at one time. That's built into models, how they work. But yeah, having that limit bumped up from 1 meg to 512 is pretty sweet. But I have definitely had, let's start a new chat. I've definitely had a situation where I couldn't do too many files at the same time. So we'll try. Actually, I have a whole bunch of Civil Air Patrol regulations that I could pick from. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, select. So there you go. It says you are exceeding the maximum limit, 3 files at a time. Now, Joe and I had a question recently about like, I have 2 documents and I want to understand the differences between them. Imagine they're 2 quotes or they're 2 versions of a policy or a standard operating procedure of some kind. And you're like, it would take time and it would take mental bandwidth to open both files and look at them and try to figure out their differences. Using a tool that you already have and the ability to browse your OneDrive, you could just select the 2 files and ask Copilot, can you summarize the functional differences between these 2 things? Or give me the difference in warranty coverage or policy, details or whatever it might be. And it can do that really quickly. So that's probably my favorite update, if I'm being honest, of like the entire session, is the fact that you all can do that. And Deanna, thank you. She put it in the chat that is seeing it and made a floor plan with it. Floor plan, loose term there. Floor plans, boxes in a box, multiple boxes in a box.
So now we don't have that Microsoft Copilot Chat folder in our OneDrive filled with multiple copies of the same file as we play with this stuff. So that definitely attached file is very helpful.
Let me show that real quick, because that is
might be a place you
funny.
can go clean up. If you've been doing this for a while, it might be a folder you can go clean up now.
Well, forcing you to upload a file that already existed in your OneDrive was making you create a copy of that file, which violates like the rule of one file, one place. And so you can see on my screen, I've got, 8 of these things. And so, yeah, you'll have this folder in your OneDrive. It's just called Copilot Chat files if you were using the attach file option before. But the browse cloud files eliminates the need to do this. We don't have to upload multiple copies over and over again. We just keep referencing the same file each day or whatever it might be. So yeah, very, very powerful capability that's built in now and a part of Copilot Chat, which is what everyone already has. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We took you through, it was all updates. So after we shut off the recording, I'll ask for some feedback on things that you might want to do next month. I have some ideas, but we really want to do what you want to do. So I'll give you some ideas and you pick an option. So we'll hang on the call for a little while after we kill the recording. If you have questions or if you want to hear some of the options that are coming up, I'll throw them in the chat too. So.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.